Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here in Philadelphia on this very, very special day. As we just heard in this great video that we saw, it is America's game and truly Philadelphia's honor. Philadelphia, our incredible city, and the Army-Navy game have quite a storied history. We have played host to the game for 86 times of like the 118 Army-Navy games since it was held here at Franklin Field way back in 1899. This is truly one of our city's great traditions, right up there with the cheesesteaks and Liberty Roll, right? Seriously, it doesn't get much better than this. Being from South Philadelphia, I just remember all the excitement and the buzz in the city when the game was being held here in Philadelphia. I used to go to Veterans Stadium and then Lincoln Financial Field to watch the game, and we are so excited to be here today to learn about the future of this great football tradition in our city. I think you'll all agree that this is indeed America's game and Philadelphia's honor. It has truly been our honor to roll out that red carpet over all these years for the academies and all of their extended families in hosting this incredible event. And I can't wait until Philadelphia gets to continue to keep rolling out that red carpet and welcome back the families and all the entertainment here in Philadelphia. So with that, I'd like to introduce Chet Glatchuk, Director of Athletics at the U.S. Naval Academy, and Boo Corrigan, Director of Athletics at the U.S. Military Academy. They're here and they are very special guests, and they want to share a special announcement here in the city of brotherly and sisterly love and make this a magical event on the field and in our city. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here this morning. It is truly another historic moment in the annals of Philadelphia and how it's played so instrumentally in the Army-Navy tradition and all of the wonderful reception and the enthusiasm that comes with this great game, that being America's game. I'd like to thank the mayor for being here. Thank you, sir. You make it very, very special that you found time to be with us today. Also, Larry Needles. Where's Larry? Larry, tremendous job, Larry Needles. The job that he did in making everything work. I mean, no one knows how difficult and how stressful the negotiations become until when we get to the end of the negotiations, you look at Larry, and he's lost more hair and he's lost more weight. But he looks pretty good after weathering our last round. So, Larry, thanks so much. The Eagles, Don, and your team. Where's Don Smolsky? Your team, where's Don? Thanks, Don. The Eagles have made so much work as well. Appreciate that. And one of the entities that's very much a part of who we are, what we represent, and has brought another level of attention, national attention, to the importance and the significance of this storied rivalry is USAA, and the great job that they've done in supporting the game as our presenting sponsor. So I'd like Admiral Byrd to say hello as well, and just raise your hand. You'll be up for a little bit later. Thank you, sir. Well, as mentioned a moment ago, 86 of 117 have been in Philadelphia, and now the good news is it'll be 92 when we get to the next 122. You know, as we looked at made the comparisons between the various cities, there's no question in anyone's mind in the final analysis, Philadelphia is the benchmark. I mean, they set the standard with regard to a commitment to this game. The bidding process was certainly extensive. It was very detailed. But Larry, you and your team just did a magnificent job of dotting the I's, crossing the T's, you know, and making certain that Army and Navy couldn't say no to another tremendous extension of your hospitality. I mentioned the game is 125 years old, is what it actually is, and it's only been 10 years, just a little bit of tradition. There's only been 10 years that the game hasn't been played since its inaugural game way back. There were a couple of times during World War I when it wasn't played. There were a couple of times when there were some eligibility issues that the Army and Navy couldn't agree to, which was a problem at that time. There was a time when one of the cadets unfortunately passed in a contest against Harvard, actually, and they canceled the rest of the season, and we didn't play that game at that point. And then there were 5 years in a row, which was the longest period of time prior to 1899 when the game was suspended. And, you know, it's kind of humorous, I think, that you had a brigadier general and a vice admiral, both of them got in fisticuffs after the game, and they just decided that they needed to bring it to the attention of the President of the United States. So the game went to the President. The continuation was a question. He took it to his cabinet, and they voted for a 5-year hiatus on the game. And it was shelved for that 5 years again because of what almost became a duel between the two senior leaders on the academy. But since then, we've become much more cordial. You know, and once in a while, we'll, you know, let Army win a game, you know, which is kind of nice. And the relationship could not be any better than it is today. And when you take a look at what Philly has done since 1899 in truly exemplifying the home of Army-Navy, you know, which it is. It's undeniably the home of Army-Navy. Once in a while, we'll go here, we'll go there, but still, we always come back to our roots. And this is certainly, you know, the city of brotherly love, which is extended on so many fronts, in so many ways, by so many wonderful people. When you take a look at, again, Franklin Field, JFK, Veterans Stadium, and now Lincoln Financial, that is a tradition of tremendous competition, a tremendous of spirited enthusiasm by both the Corps of Cadets and the Brigade of Midshipmen, and something that only Philly exudes, you know, that next level, as I mentioned a moment ago, of commitment, energy, enthusiasm, hospitality, and truly the spirit of Army-Navy. So, you know, with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Boo Corrigan, but I do want to thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for making it happen, because nothing in the city happens without the mayor's endorsement, you know, and his enthusiastic support. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Don, and all those that have been part, Admiral Byrd, been part of something that's just so meaningful for us in Annapolis and up at Highland Falls. Okay, Boo Corrigan, my colleague. Boo.
Thanks, Chet, and thanks to everyone who's here today. And again, not to be repetitive, but the Philadelphia Sports Council, Visitors Bureau, the Eagles ownership. Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for being here. It's interesting as we go through this process, and you know, we're clearly two fine academic institutions. So what we really did is we turned it into an algebra question on this. If a cadet leaves West Point on a bus going 60 miles an hour, and a midshipman leaves Annapolis on a bus going 60 miles an hour, who will get to Philadelphia first? Ironically, it all fits at 0 at Lincoln Financial Field. So we're thrilled for our fans, for the Corps, for the Brigade, for the Navy fans to be able to be back in Philadelphia. It's such a special place, and the opportunity to play the game here in 18, 19, 20, and 22. We're thrilled with the opportunity to be here. Philadelphia does such a wonderful job with everything around the games. Our fans know where to go. They're comfortable with it. Our teams are comfortable with it, and could not be happier about the opportunity to be back in Philadelphia. So again, thank everyone here for being here. Mr. Mayor, if you could come forward, please, we have a small gift for you.
So you know how us politicians love to be loved. A couple years ago, I had to figure out who I was for. So let's just do this now.
Okay.
Well, that was fun. Thank you very much. And I told the two ADs that in addition to the game and all the stuff that goes around the game, just being on the streets of Philadelphia and watching the best of our country, male and female, black and white, brown, walking around in their uniforms, spending money, which is nice with their families, but it's just really nice to see them out there. It makes you feel that there's great hope and great future for our nation, because theirs are the ones who are protecting us. Thank you. And first, I'd like to acknowledge the following people who made this announcement possible: Chet, of course, and Bob and Boo, and members of City Council. State Senator Hughes is here. His son is a graduate of West Point. Ron Naples and Admiral Tom Lynch for their leadership as co-chairs of the Army-Navy Host Committee. Thank you very much. Our beloved Philadelphia Eagles, specifically Team President Don Smolensky, has been mentioned already. And now we're going to do, this is like a diplomatic thing. It's like a diplomatic event. I'd like to ask Chet and Boo to come up again for their gift. Thank you. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge PHL Sports and PHL CVB for their leadership and hosting and bidding on this event. I mean, you know, on the heels of the NFL draft and the great opportunity we had to show off Philadelphia for the world, this is just another feather in your cap. So thank you. Yep. PHL CVB has helped recruit a lot of big events, as I said lately, the NFL draft to the Democratic National Convention, and they all have a significant impact on improving our national and international reputation. I'm sure that the Army-Navy game will also have a similar effect again, but I think this event is also special for another reason. The Army-Navy game, to me, always represented the best of what this country has to offer. These are two proud teams, two proud branches of the military that want to go out and compete and win each year. These are very competitive games. I don't care what the particular record of either of the teams are. When that game is on, it's on, and everyone tries to win that game. But as soon as the final whistle blows, they go back to being on the same team, which is something I think we can all learn from in this country today. And I think we can all take a page out of their books on this one. We're going to disagree on some things, but at the end of the day, we're all Americans, and we need to find our way back to remembering that we're all on the same team, all Americans. Thank you, and now it's my pleasure to introduce Ron Naples, co-chair of the Army-Navy Host Committee. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mayor Kenny. Good morning, everyone. From my perch as the co-chair of the Army-Navy Host Committee, I'm really pleased and proud to be here today. It gives the truth to the statement I've always made that if it's the second Saturday in December, it must be Army-Navy in Philadelphia. On that day, folks, a nation turns its eyes to Philadelphia. And it's hard to think of a better event that could be associated with this. It's not only is it a football game, which is important, of course, to those of us who like football and those who love the academies, but it's also a symbol of the character and courage that's represented on the field by the men and women who've volunteered to commit themselves to the defense of our nation. So it's pretty impressive. It's always heartwarming for me. I'm a former cadet a long time ago, but I never failed to be inspired by the young people that are out there. I was reminded of how the Army-Navy game insinuates itself into our community on the way here this morning. I was going to take the train, so I went to the train station before I ended up driving. I won't go into all that. But at the train station, I bumped into a group of kids, maybe kids are 12 or 13 years old, something like that. And one of them, with the innocence and directness of that age, came up to me and said, "Hey, what's that?" I said, "Oh, that's the symbol of West Point, the U.S. Military Academy." He says, "No, you don't have to tell me. That's Army, man. I know that's Army. A couple of years ago, my dad took me to the game. Army lost." And I said, "Well, I want you to know that Army's on a winning streak." I didn't tell him it was a one-game streak, but he said, "But you know, I wanted to go last year. My dad said they aren't playing here." And he said, "Are they ever going to play the game in Philadelphia again?" I said, I have news for you, and I'm sorry, I broke the news embargo. But there's a 10-year-old walking around in Lower Merion who knows about this already. So I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that. This is the third contract for Tom and me heading the host committee. That means 20 years we've been at this. 20 years it's been a labor of love for us. And Philadelphia's goal has never been just a game on Saturday afternoon. It's always been a football game on Saturday, yes, but rather a special and warm welcome to our city, from our city, to create a great weekend experience for all who are associated with the game. We want people to come here, realize how great a city Philadelphia is, be treated with warmth and respect, and that happens every time, whether it's city employees, whether it's Don Smolensky's folks at the Eagles, people are welcomed warmly. And I hear that all the time. I ask my associates up at West Point, how did it go? And they talk about ushers who take them. They ask a question about where's my seat? They don't just get pointed in a direction. They get taken there. I mean, that kind of stuff is really powerful. They run into people in restaurants in town. They're always warmly greeted. Inevitably, somebody buys someone a drink. I hope it stops at one. But they always love being here. And goodness knows, it takes a great cast to create an environment that provides that kind of experience. For Tom and me, it's a labor of love, of course. It always has been. And I'm sorry Tom couldn't be here this morning. For so many others, it's a labor of civic pride. Our city administration, led by Mayor Kenny, has been an important part of making this happen, of course. We couldn't do this without city resources and city support. Our strong partnership with the Eagles is extremely important. I know Don is here. But so many things have to be worked out about this football game. To have a partner like the Don and the Eagles is really important. And the peerless, and I'll call it peerless execution by Larry Needle and his folks at the PHL Sports is beyond compare. They deliver this game time after time after time. There's always something new. We always are working with Larry to find ways to make it new, and I want to congratulate Larry not only on good negotiations, but also on creating an environment that's really powerful for the city and the game. And of course, we couldn't do this without a Philadelphia private sector willing to invest in many ways in making a difference. And that's always the focus. How do we make a difference? Thank goodness for those folks. They were important for this bid, and they're always important for things that we do around town. So thanks to the private sector. This decision announced by Boo and Chet today, I see it as a tribute to how Philadelphia has delivered on its promise for so long. And when we've delivered for so long, we have the right we have established the credibility of being able to deliver into the future, and I'm really proud of that. Thanks to Boo and to Chet for the confidence embodied in this award, and to them I promise an Army-Navy experience here that will match the way we've delivered in the past. Thanks a lot, folks. And now, and one of the things of making a game work is really powerful sponsors, and I'd like to introduce one right now. I'd like to introduce the USAA Senior VP for Military Affairs, Vice Admiral John Byrd.
What a spectacular location for this press announcement. This room is just beautiful and historic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chet, Boo, Don, Larry, and everyone that made it possible to have this game in Philadelphia. USAA is very proud to be the presenting sponsor, and I'm particularly proud to represent the 32,000 employees that work at USAA, and more importantly, the 12 million military veterans and their families that we're honored to have as members of USAA. As we've said, the Army-Navy game has one of the oldest and richest ongoing enduring rivalries in all of college sports. You know, in this day and age, it epitomizes all the greatness of a healthy, spirited, and very intense competition. But more important than that is the foundation of those two service academies and what they're based on: service, discipline, and willing to defend our country. Those young men and women have taken an oath, and they're ready to do it and defend our country and our way of life. We, too, are excited that the game is returning to Philadelphia. As we said, over the next 6 games, 5 of them will be here in Philadelphia, including the game this December 9th, and we're looking forward to it. For me, as a graduate of the Naval Academy, like Don, it brings back fond memories here in Philadelphia, some cold Saturdays. I won't tell you how long ago it was, but I will tell you we played at JFK Stadium 4 years in a row. Doesn't exist any longer. But more importantly, what was best about those Saturdays was the incredible hospitality of the city of Philadelphia. certainly earning the name of brotherly love from my perspective. The opening arms, the willing to accept the midshipmen, the cadets, and the fans of Army, Navy, and just give us a great hospitality. The other thing I would highlight is, and I found this throughout my 35 years in the Navy, this game has global appeal. Sure, there's a lot of excitement here in Philadelphia along the East Coast, the Army-Navy fans, the alumni of the two service academy, but it's bigger. Navy, Army veterans across the country, and those in service globally deployed overseas, at sea, will gather together in some very strange and unique venues to watch this game and celebrate their team having a victory. Finally, I would say, as a company that was founded by the military, for the military, it's our great honor to show in some small way a little support for these two great service academies, their graduates, those that have served, and more importantly, our love for the men and women that serve in our military. So thank you very much, and we're very proud to be the presenting sponsor. With that, I would turn it over to Larry Nettle, who is the Executive Director of PHL Sports.
Thank you very much, Admiral, and thanks again to USAA for all that you do. For all those that have worked together in hosting Army-Navy in Philadelphia, this is a very special day. There are so many folks that work behind the scenes to make Army-Navy come off so seamlessly and are really at the heart of what makes the game work in Philadelphia. People like the Philadelphia Police Department and all the security personnel who work so diligently behind the scenes, the phenomenal Eagles production team and field crew, and the legions of staff at West Point and Annapolis that are coordinating everything from the movement of the Corps and the brigade to the halftime show and the awesome spirit videos that we see during the game. This is a very unique and special event, and it takes a lot of dedicated people to make it work. Twice a year, we sit at planning meetings with almost 200 people in the room, and it's very humbling to see just how many folks are involved in making the game come off so safely and successfully. I can tell you that all of us in that room are converts, and Army-Navy holds a very special place in our hearts. Certainly, the game is important to Philadelphia for lots of reasons. Most importantly, it's a chance for us to welcome the brave men and women of the military, past, present, and future, and show our appreciation for all they do for us. And it's certainly one of the biggest weekends of the year for our hospitality community, as we welcome 50,000 visiting fans to our city and millions of viewers around the globe. One last time, a sincere thank you to all of our core Philadelphia partners, Mayor Kenny and his great team at the city, Governor Wolf, Senator Hughes, and everyone at the state, Don Smolensky, Frank Gameni, Chris Sharkowski, the team at the Eagles, Ron Naples, Tom Lynch, and who lead our host committee so well. Our whole team at PHL Sports and the Convention Bureau, who work tirelessly to make Army-Navy a success each year, and led by our president, Julie Coker-Graham, and chairman, Nick DeBenedictis. Last but certainly not least, we again thank the academies for sharing this incredible tradition with us. We are very proud to be your partners and honored to host you as always. Thanks again for everyone for coming out today. Our speakers will be available for media requests immediately following the program. Thanks again. Have a great day.